Okay, we're going to talk about the 5 ways to put out a fire. Way number 1 is to call the fire department. Way number 1 is call the fire department. Okay, call 911. Way number 2 is you can use an emergency fire blanket. Way number 2 is to use an emergency fire blanket. So what you would do is go ahead and pull the tab that takes the blanket out of the container, and then you're going to go ahead and place the blanket over the stove, and you're going to leave it until it's dead cold. My suggestion, at least 12 hours. You want to make sure it's totally and absolutely cold, because if you pick the blanket up to see if the fire is out, because fire uses oxygen to breathe, the fire will come alive again. So, in order to use a fire blanket, right, you want to take the fire blanket and you pull the tab, you take the blanket over to the stove, place it on the stove and leave it there, in my opinion, for at least 12 hours until it is stone cold dead. So way number 1 is to call 911. Way number 2 is to use a fire blanket. Way number 3 is to take the lid of a pot. It has to be a lid that fits, because if it's too small or too big, then the fire can get the oxygen. So if you have the lid, right, and you have a small to medium fire, you can put the lid on the pot and leave it until it's stone cold dead. That means you would be willing to touch it and not be afraid that the fire would burn you. And don't forget, again, if you pick it up to see if everything's okay, you let oxygen in. If there's any fire left, it will start again. So make sure you leave the lid on the pot until it's stone cold dead. So, on our 5 ways to put out a fire, we've got way number 1, call 911. Way number 2 is the emergency fire blanket. Way number 3 is to put the lid on the pot. Way number 4 is baking soda. You want to give the fire a drink. The baking soda will smother the fire and the fire will go out. So you can use baking soda to smother the fire and the fire will go out. So we've got call 911, emergency fire blanket, lid, baking soda, give the fire a drink, and the last one is the fire extinguisher. We have 3 fire extinguishers at school. There's 2 in the kitchen and then 1 out in the demo room. So the way it works is, number 1, you want to pull the pen. You want to pull the pen. So pull. Number 2, you want to point the hose at the base of the fire. Point the hose at the base of the fire. And then number 3, you want to squeeze the contents out. So you pull, point, squeeze. So to use a fire extinguisher properly, you pull, point, and squeeze. And you want to make sure that you use an ABC fire extinguisher.
Good morning,
ABC
Glasgow.
fire extinguisher.
Coffee and donuts are now being